Okay, so I got a couple of things about playing ramp on Nuke. One thing that is extremely obvious is that if you look at the map, you're playing an extremity on the map as CT, and that's always going to dictate a lot of how you play, because most rounds you are going to be here alone, and having to make kind of like those solo decisions and not having anyone to set you up or anyone to set up. Well, the first most basic thing obviously is just like as you run in, you're either just gonna bounce a molly off this wall, and you can, if it's an anti-eco, especially you can follow it up with a nade and try and get some good damage in, or you can just smoke it at the start of the round too. Like this is super general stuff. Like you don't really need lineups here. But onto like actual stuff about ramp. One thing is, as it's commonly held with just one person on the extremity of the map, that means that even though survival is always like your top, well, not always, but almost always your top priority, because dead players don't do many things, then here it kind of like the distance between you and your team and the sort of like the hinge point nature of the position, it just amplifies that. But on the other hand, it's important to remember that ramp is not bomb site. Like you're not actually anchoring B while you're on ramp. You don't have to make your final stand here. So if they're coming, there's a lot of angles you can hold. There's a lot of headshot angles here where you can just get one and just like fall back, and then you're calling like a good ramp hold is getting, if you get one and you leave, then you did an excellent job. That's it. There's like, and if someone gives you shit, you don't listen to them. So that's like the basic. Your basic job is to live and get a kill if you can. That's it. That's basically all that's required in terms of holding. But Nuke is a map of very dynamic and fluid and quick rotations, which means that the other thing that you're expected to do on ramp is give out information that's useful and actually kind of dictates a lot of what's happening on the map. So it's not like you're anchoring, say, B site on Dust 2, where your calls can affect rotations, but like mostly you just stick someone in there, or like be on Mirage, but you're actually like the calls here are super important. I'll demonstrate. Say you get one kill, you fall back here into something like this, another decent headshot angle. Then what happens elsewhere on the map is either if you have someone in heaven, they'll take this an angle like this, or even get down here, or if you have a, say, an AWP here with someone playing closer by, they can turn around. But the point is someone else takes this flank route and takes care of that, and then essentially the default thing is when you lose ramp, and it's not like a full-on they all went down, is one guy goes down. Like the ramp guy finds a spot they can hold and live, and then usually who goes down is like the squeaky player, or if you have someone who's already in secret, but like someone from here goes down, goes down and gets in position to support the ramp players, so you can do setups on B and you can play off of each other. And if you call that there's like 4 people here or whatever, 3, 4, then maybe there's a lobby crunch that can happen and get basically start having 2 people clear this. Just like those calls are gonna cause a lot of movement around the map, and that's why if let's say you're playing here and you call, well, 2 ramp, then you die, and nothing, because it only takes like 5 seconds for them to have swarmed this entire thing and planted. So especially if you don't get caught right away, let's say you're not used to calling and fighting at the same time, then what happens is you fight here, fight here, fight here. They're already like here when you die. Maybe you're even trying to run away. You die here, then you call 2 ramp, and they're already on site, and like none of that thing has a chance to happen. And then suddenly, like you have 4, 5 terrorists here set up, and your teammates are like, I don't know, playing angles like like this, being like, oh well, I guess I gotta go retake B now. So in terms of like let's say as someone playing, I don't know, on the other extreme of the map, maybe not like an exact yard player, but someone playing like rotate roll here or in front of Squeaky. Like what I want to hear and where I want to get that information is like certain thresholds. Like if you can call radio, then that's gonna, or I guess people call this trophy now, whatever, it's radio for me. Like this is a threshold I want to hear, because it sort of gives me information on what they can do and in what time, and how ready do I need to be. Say, do I need to start moving here, playing close squeak to be ready for a fast drop, or can I do something like just let them come in and let Heaven Guy take first contact, or you know, whatever, but just like it actually kind of informs my play. Then if you have to smoke, or if they smoke this to crawl close, then that I also want to hear. I want to hear like this from radio to close ramp threshold, if they can get there, because that also, like if they're actually working to take that sort of map control. That's this guy. Maybe with an AWP just post up here. And then of course they're taking ramp. They're taking ramp is what you wanna essentially, like that's there should be callouts before that point. In terms of like spots you can play on ramp, like I showed a couple, like normal, just this is, I wouldn't say this is an off angle exactly, but it's one where a lot of people, they clear this and then they neglect to clear that fully. They go like this. So that's something you can do. Then of course there's this this headshot angle here you can play on top of the railing here, which is kind of, I don't know, I see people just playing super static like this, and that's a surefire way to get pre-fired. So if you're doing that, at least, like, I don't know, try and find a bit more of an off angle here instead of just playing it exactly here. And then of course there's the classic red box here, and you can play it this several ways. You can op this, and you can op it in a few ways, obviously. You can even even off from like here, assuming you haven't let them past. You can try and play close angle like this, get a kill, flash as you get away. My point is there's like a lot of little adjustments you can make to make yourself. Like just be sure that you are not too easy to trade. If you are able to if you are able to anticipate the trade and somehow adjust in order to not get traded and get the second kill and get away, you probably won the round right there and then. But the expected thing is not, like, that's not an expected thing, and it's not very likely to happen if they are good at trading. Then you can, on eco roads are kind of hard to play on ramp, because you want to have surprising close angles, and there's not actually that many here. Like, because they can clear all this, and once they cleared all this, they just clear you here. Of course you can boost here, which is fun, but say and try and do something like this, especially with like maybe a bait setup here. If you play 2 here on the eco, you can have someone here and they can jump down, or they can just crouch. Maybe just crouch and then this guy activates. You can try and do something like that. In terms of like holding it, there's people tend to think it's either easy or hard for some reason. There's not a lot of like actual or like it's not a super cerebral like spot in my mind. Like it's just about doing the very basics of your job well, because this is such a point where if you lose it for free every round, then they get so many options, because they're threatening 2 very different things that both require investment in terms of setup to stop. Once you have to fall back, there's things you can do. Let's say you smoked at the start, you didn't molly. If you manage to molly this on your way out, that buys you, and they're not exactly behind you, then that should buy you enough time to get here. And this is a super strong position, because you can essentially get them while they're clearing other things, and should be able to find at least one more. If you find, say like in a vacuum, if you get one ramp and one when they come down, then that should also be like almost a 1 round. Let's say you get back here, you should have a rotate coming, and then you can ask for things from them. You don't have to like be a hero, but you can, if let's say they come double, you can ask them to open it, stay safe, or like decon, same thing. And then once that opens, then you can peek out. If you still have your smoke, you can like do this to help friends come in. If you have time, something like this is a super strong spot, but I wouldn't recommend trying to jump up here. There's also like people tend to like this spot, but I don't like this as a like fallback spot, because it's, if they're not being pressured, it's super easy to just get, well, I guess not like that, but like I'm too lazy to have a lineup for this, but like I know there's lines up to just get this from everywhere, and even if they don't like line it up, it's extremely easy for someone to just like here there's spot. Well, I'll just place bot there. I guess I'll show it kind of the wrong way, but like you aren't gonna aren't gonna like we're able to fight these very efficiently. This is a spot that can sometimes surprise people, but once again it's kind of a one and down spot. So you're gonna have to want something that you can play around instead of just like be in a corner. There's of course the chance. This is kind of like my favorite because you should be able to get at least one. And it also gives you a massive amount of information just by by virtue of being like all the way up here. Of course, there's the close angles here, but kind of risky. I don't know. I don't know. Like I thought I'd have more like to say about the spots, but I think the spots aren't, or the how you wanna take these fights is a lot more about like individual comfort and what works for you. Instead of like play here is a super strong spot, and the important thing is to understand like what you're here to do, and it's kind of like to make them pay a price if they want ramp control. Make sure your teammates know what's happening, and then make sure that you don't give up ramp in a way where it creates a huge hole here. Because if you get past this threshold without them being like immediately there, you should be fine. And your team, you should need to tell your teammates that I gave up ramp. Like that's the single most important call you make at that point is I gave up ramp. And if these guys aren't reacting, you need to like tell them that when I give up ramp, you need to make sure. Also, if they're leaning heavily on ramp, you can do 2 at the start. It's not ideal, or you can occasionally like throw 2 in there. In which case basically you want to do like a bait and switch setup, something along the lines of what I showed earlier, or you know, you just want to have this guy go for a kill from here, and if they throw a smoke, they can also just like maybe, or just try and get some damage into you, or even just like flash for the ramp guy, but let them get down safe. That's like most of it, I think, because it's not a super strong or a complicated position in theory, but it requires a lot of adjustment in game based on what the enemy is doing. Like, do they have a guy who is constantly just coming here and checking every angle and just like trying to find this jewel and just be better than you, because that's gonna make you play it in one way, or are they just like burning a smoke to take control of like lobby and ramp and have someone posted outside and then just like crunch it or pop out, because that's gonna require another set of like communications and what you're gonna do with it. Actually, yeah, I guess talking about pushing it is also in order, because you see a lot of people play ramp pretty aggressively. Maybe they like to get a shotgun going or something, but like at the start of the round, they'll come here, and this I'm not a huge fan of, just because it will get you like a good, cool 3k sometimes here. The chances are they're gonna come in with Tech 9s, rush your smoke, you get 1 or 2, then you die, and then they're down. But later in the round, if they have a strong presence elsewhere, maybe they're like not, maybe you have a guy secret or vent, and and they're like leaning heavily towards this side of the map. Maybe you're at man disadvantage and you need to find something. Pushing ramp is an okay risk to take sometimes. Just clear shit. Just, you know, one by one. Find these kills here. That's a good bind. Just, you know, get this. Get one, maybe. Then depending, then you just can do whatever. And then in terms of like straight up pushing at the start of the round by itself, I wouldn't really, I don't know, I really dislike it because you're gonna make a lot of noise getting up to here, and they know you're coming and then they just pick you. So what you're usually trying to do is a lobby crunch with people coming in from basically everywhere. Unfortunate flash, actually. Too far. But anyway, and then you have this kind of like crossfire because you end up somewhere around here by the time they come out of hot and squeaky. Like as a solo, I'm just gonna push this thing. It's a desperation play really, or it's a gamble play rather. If there's a smoke, you can sometimes play around it. Like if you land smoke there. But you're gonna have to be ready for the fact that they are gonna clear this once they don't get information or don't have information about it previously. Yeah, I guess that's it. Like it's just ramp, but it helps to think about what you're trying to achieve. Like the most important point that I can just hammer home is it's not a bomb site. It's fine to give it up. Come what you're leaving open when you fall back. If your team isn't reacting in a vanilla like default way to doesn't have a handle on like nuke rotation basics, it's fine to just like, hey, you know, I don't want to like die on ramp, so I'll fall down and someone cover like lockers or hell. And apart from that, it's just like a comfort thing, really. Like get comfortable with that. It's I guess it's just one of those roles where you have to play it for a while, and with like a consciousness towards what you're trying to achieve, and then it will start to like happen. And I don't like really have a lot of, I don't usually play ramp, so this honestly is kind of like a non-ramp player's perspective. But that's a general overview. But I'm sure there's like cool flashes and shit that you can have, or off angles that you can have, but this is more of a thoughts on playing ramp type of thing.